Best of luck to him, referring to T-Rob here, but I stand firm in my stance that we don't need anyone on the team who isn't 100% all in. Coaches, players, doesn't matter. And I think it goes without being said. Outside the head coach, the second most important piece of the coaching staff for Alabama is a defensive coordinator. Some people would say the offensive coordinator, but I disagree. Alabama, yes, we've scored a lot of points on offense since 2015, 2016, but we are still a defensive school. I've got some hot chocolate in my hand. It's snowing. They've already shut down the city for 2 days due to the snow that's already fallen. The only thing that can make this day even better is if Alabama could figure out what in the crap we're doing with the defensive coordinator position. I have a real deal serious question. Can somebody please explain this to me in the comment section down below? What in the crap are we doing? If you haven't figured it out by now, we are here to talk about this crazy situation involving Alabama, Kalen DeBoer, and the defensive coordinator spot. We're not doing no intro, none of that. I don't got time to waste. You don't got time to waste. And I need to upload this video before my power goes off. Earlier this morning, I took this picture. This was about roughly 7:30 a.m. in northern Alabama, to give you some context. As you can tell, it looks pretty bad. But under that, Miss right here, she replied to that tweet and said, "Nashville is wild right now." And take a look at this. These pictures are courteous of her, and it looks like a blizzard hit Nashville. Just from this picture alone, it looks like there's piles, and I'm talking about piles and piles of snow. She told me that they got around 4 to 6 inches, which is already a lot, but I've also seen some other reports saying in isolated areas, there's places in Brentwood, Tennessee, and Nashville that got around 10 inches. And I believe it because that snow band that came through, it was thin, but here's the thing. If you were in that band, you were going to get a lot, and Nashville was in it. And here's the newest updates, at least at my house. I went out there with a tape measure, and as you can see right here, I think this may be a little over-exaggerated just due to the fact I was doing this in my driveway, and there might have been a slight snow drift. And the reason I measured it in my driveway is because I didn't feel like walking out and all of that, but regardless, we got a lot of snow for our area. I don't know if we got, what's that saying right there, 6 inches. That might be a slight snow drift, but definitely I'd say 3.5 to 4. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a bunch of you are sitting there saying, "Matt, shut the crap up. Don't care about the snow in your area. We want to know what's going on with Alabama football." And I agree with you as well. So without further ado, Matt, shut the crap up. Let's lock in and let's get down to business. Well, first things first, I need to throw this out there. For those of you who don't know, Alabama currently does not have a defensive coordinator. We didn't have a defensive coordinator before Kalen DeBoer got there, so just let me get that out there right now. This isn't a situation where Kalen DeBoer is bringing in his own defensive coordinator. No. We didn't have one in the first place. And I think it goes without being said. Outside the head coach, the second most important piece of the coaching staff for Alabama is a defensive coordinator. Some people would say the offensive coordinator, but I disagree. Alabama, yes, we've scored a lot of points on offense since 2015, 2016, but we are still a defensive school. And that is why, for the most part, let me remind some of y'all, we got Caleb Downs in the first place. It's also why we got Minkah Fitzpatrick. All the legends we've got in the secondary come to Alabama because we're DBU. Granted, I do got to throw this in there. Unfortunately, this is the bad news. The main reason we were DBU is because of, guess who? Nick Saban, and he's gone. That was his specialty. Yes, he was the head coach, but he specialized in defensive backs. And I'm not saying Kalen DeBoer won't do a good job with the defensive backs moving forward, but we know this. He's an offensive-minded head coach. And by default, defensive players aren't going to be as inclined to play for Kalen DeBoer as they were for Nick Saban. And outside of Saban retiring and Kalen DeBoer coming into Alabama, the biggest headline was also that T-Rob, Travarius Robinson, he was leaving Alabama to go to Georgia. He was one of the biggest recruiters on the Alabama defensive staff, and it goes without being said, detrimental loss. You hate losing him. Although me personally, I don't think losing T-Rob is the biggest deal in the world, he was a guy that you wanted to keep. Well, here's what things really, and I mean really get interesting. You better buckle up for this one. Travarius Robinson winds up leaving Alabama. Where does he go? Georgia. Wishing him best of luck. But then reports start coming out early Sunday, late Saturday night that T-Rob might come back to Alabama. So within 1 week, he leaves Alabama, goes to Georgia, and now he might be going back to Bama. What's going on? And I ain't going to hold you. I didn't believe it for a split second. I was like, that is the stupidest thing I've heard. Stupid rumors, stupid speculation. That ain't happening. I thought it was just some random account on Twitter making it up. But no, come to find out, it was true. Chris Lowe, who is one of my best sources out there, this is the same source that was first to break the news that Nick Saban was retiring, tweeted out this. Travarius Robinson interviewed with new Alabama football coach Kalen DeBoer for several hours Sunday for the defensive coordinator job, but has decided to remain at Georgia, sources tell ESPN. So yeah, that's crazy. We went from Travarius Robinson leaving Bama, we don't know what we're going to do there, to, oh, wait a minute. He might come back and be the new defensive coordinator. And that would have been great. That was a match made in heaven. When I heard that he was interviewing for the job, the defensive coordinator spot, I was like, yes, we need him to come back. Or my apologies, not need him, because I don't think we need him. We want him to come back. It would have been a cherry on top of things. But push comes to shove, not too sure what happened in the meeting. I don't think it went bad. It's just one of those things where they're not on the same page. It's business. And the way I live my life, my perspective is different from many others. I'll give you a quick example of what I'm talking about here. There's a story of this poor farmer who lost a horse, and all of his neighbors were telling him, oh, well, that's too bad. And all he said back was, maybe. Shortly after he lost his horse, the same horse returned with another horse with him. And everybody's like, hey, that's awesome. And he said, maybe. The point is, all these bad things that happen to you, you don't know if it's really for the worse. And all the good things that happen to you, you don't know if it's for the better. I'll give you another example. This happened to me a couple years back, and I always think about it. I had to go to work, and I needed to be there by 8 a.m., and my car wouldn't start, so obviously I was late. I'm trying to jump my car off, trying to figure out what the problem is. I'm pissed off, and eventually I fix it, and I leave my driveway, and I know I'm like, all right, I'm going to be 10 to 15 minutes late. Well, as I'm heading to work, pissed off, I'm like, yep, my day's ruined. This day sucks. Nothing's going my way. A car on the way to work, I saw it got into a big wreck. So you know where I'm going with this. If my car would have started, that could have been me. It goes back to what I just said. All these bad things that happen to you, you don't know if they're bad. And here's a different video for a different day. Maybe one day I'll get to share my life story with y'all, but if I would have never tore my ACL in high school, I would have never started a YouTube channel. And I remember like it was yesterday, man. When I tore my ACL, White Randy, I thought my life was over, and look at where we're at now. The butterfly effect is crazy, and of course, hindsight's 20/20, but looking back on it, tearing my ACL was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And why is that ironic? At the time, I thought it was the worst thing. Getting back on track here, sorry for the mini rant. You can apply the same logic to T-Rob going to Georgia. You don't know if him staying at Alabama would be for the better or for the worse. Maybe, and this is just a maybe, instead of him and Kalen DeBoer butting heads and going at it, DeBoer can bring in his own guy that he loves. And as where it stands right now, the only rumor that's gaining any traction is South Alabama's Kane Wommack, hope I'm saying that correctly. He's going to be up for the job. But outside of that, guys, I wish I had something to tell you. I wish I had some leads, but I don't. The only thing we know for certain is that T-Rob, he turned it down. And I don't know who we should go after. Let me know in the comment section. What do y'all think we should do? We'll end off the video with this. This is from Hannah Stevens. Shout out to Hannah. I really like this comment. Best of luck to him, referring to T-Rob here, but I stand firm in my stance that we don't need anyone on the team who isn't 100% all in. Coaches, players, doesn't matter. The teams that have won national championships at Alabama have been team-focused, not self-focused, and I agree. Coaches too. When they all buy into the vision, big things happen. Similar to Michigan this year. The problem is most want to be a part of the outcome, but few want to be a part of the process. Woo! Speaking facts today, I'm honestly very excited for this fall. The best is yet to come for the Crimson Tide. Well, I know you're just talking to talk here, but I don't know about that last part. The best is yet to come. I think we witnessed the best the past 15 years. And I hope that Kalen DeBoer makes me eat those words and these words I'm about to say, but he ain't winning no 6 championships in 16 years. That ain't going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but there's one thing I can promise you. I'll keep you updated. Let me know your thoughts down below. Stay warm. But